Hello again, everybody. It's me, Valentina here. We are ready to bring up our next speaker to our virtual stage, and we have a good one for you. So, she is the Global Community Program Lead at LinkedIn Sales Solutions and is responsible for implementing and scaling an end-to-end global strategy focused on driving meaningful growth and engagement activities. Today, she will be sharing her experience, and you'll learn how to effectively measure growth and engagement while collaborating with cross-functional partners to drive business success. Please welcome to the stage, Nádia Vieira.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Valentina, as well. I think so. Maybe we can start. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to be sharing some of my insights and expertise with you today. And I'll be looking forward for the questions during the Q&A as well. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to run a global community program, but I'm going to focus on how to manage a community and definitely work with cross-functional partners, which is something that I do it every day. And I think as a community manager, that's probably something you do it as well. The first thing that I wanted to share with you guys is just the agenda really quickly. The first thing is we're going to cover through defining a strategy and managing a global community program. We're going to look at some of the measurement and engagement activities that I'm measuring in my community program that I would recommend someone to do as well. Then I'm going to go to collaborating with cross-functional partners. So what are the teams that are the internal teams that I'm working with at the moment and how they are supporting me versus how I support them. And then just to close out, a few top tips for all community managers, and hopefully number 5 will be Q&A. I really want to listen to all your questions and be able to answer them at the end. So just a little bit about me before we start and go into all the details. If you guys don't know me, my background is in marketing. So I've been working in marketing over the last couple of years. I have a master's in marketing as well. And I do feel that my experience in marketing, and being a marketing manager definitely helped me understand how to be a better community management. I think all those learnings and all those experience that I have from marketing, I'm definitely bringing them and applying them into my current role. I live in Ireland. I'm from Portugal, but I moved to Ireland and I live in Dublin for the last 3 years and a half. And part of me really loving to live in Ireland is that I work for LinkedIn, which is an incredible company. The picture you see here today is just some of my team. They're incredible. We are a global team, so we have people we're living and working in Dublin, in San Francisco, India. So it's a really global team, and it's incredible to be part of it as well. And now we can go into why we are here today as well. So the first thing that I'm going to talk to you is how to define and implement a growth and engagement strategy when you are leading a community. So when you are a community manager responsible for managing a global program, like me, for example. The first thing that I think we need to understand is just we need to focus on 3 main pillars, that involves overseeing them and supporting our customers and our business at scale, I would say. So when we look at these 3 main pillars, the ones that I identify for the community that I'm managing right now is that the first thing that we need to understand is how to build the strategy. What is the strategy that you need to build that will help you implement all the strategies and support your users, because that's the main purpose of having a community. Then the second one will be all around moderating the community. What are the things you do? And that not only involves, answering questions, and talking to members, but what are the other engagement activities that you are implementing that will ultimately help you support your customers as well through this platform? And then lastly, that's why we're all here, about creating unique experiences and resources. And hopefully that's what we're able to do when we have a community like ours. So I'm going to focus on the first one, which is building a strategy, and I think this is the first thing that we kind of need to do. Step 1 is to understand what is the purpose of your community. What are you really trying to achieve when you are creating this? You need to be able to answer this question before you actually implement or start your community. And when you build a strategy, and when you think about the purpose of your community, I kind of feel that we have 2 steps that we need to make sure we complete. So step number 1 will be around, defining the scope of your community. It's really important to understand, again, what are you trying to achieve? And I think like by answering some of the questions that I have here, you will probably be able to start this. So for example, what is the unique value of your community? What are you really trying to bring to your business, to your current company that it doesn't exist yet? But also, what are you trying to offer to your customers or to your users that they cannot find anywhere else in any other resources that you have actually, that you support them with as well? Then the second thing, and I think that definitely relates to the first one, which is around, how are you meeting your customer needs? With this community, what exactly are you trying to give them? Are you trying to give them some product education? Are you trying to help them with peer validation so that when they're looking for things like, am I doing this right? Or do I need to change my strategy? Or, are you trying to get them product updates, make sure that they are aware of anything that is changing within the product? I feel that, there are different needs that you can meet with a community. You don't need to answer all of them. You need to be able to choose, the ones that for you at a certain moment of time are most important. And that will also relate to, how you are delivering business value to your company. Because with this community, you're not only supporting your customers, your external customers, but you also might have internal customers, and that is your teams. So you need to be able to, to tell them that you would like this community, for example, to be the voice of customer. You want this community to be the place where customers will let will let the product team know, what's working, what's not working, what are the things they'd like to have within the product or the service that you are providing them, or you just want to help your support team have less support cases. You want to help with support deflection, So this, again, you don't need to answer all of them. I think sometimes, and you'll see me talking about this throughout this session, sometimes less is more. You just need to be specific for the audience and the internal and external customers that you're working with so that they fully understand the potential of your platform. And I think this will definitely connect to the last one, which is you have to measure success. You need to be able to tell to your businesses, this is how the community is making an impact. This is how we're supporting our customers. So it is important for you to set up those KPIs. And I have a pro tip here, set measurable KPIs from day one so that you can report to the business how you're doing versus them. And of course, you can change them over time. The KPIs that you set up today, and especially when you set up a community, when you implement a community, the KPIs that you're probably going to have from the beginning, they're not going to be the same ones you're going to have towards kind of like the mid-cycle of your community. Then on the other side, once you were able to define the scope and answer all those questions, you can actually go ahead and build a strategy. You can understand, how do you want customers to log in? Where are they going to hear about this community? And that's how you're going to define your growth strategies. And your growth strategies, for example, I have here onboarding emails. On our side, with our community, we have a few entry points for customers to be aware of our community platform. And onboarding emails for us, the ones that they're being sent with the product team and with our customer marketing, we have a call to action for the community in there. So on day X, they get an email talking about the product and also inviting them to join the community. So you need to really select the entry points that you'd love your customers to be aware of so that they can actually log into the community and start, engaging as well. And that will connect to the engagement activities. Once they know about the community, then what do you want to do to make sure that they keep coming? And that could be like badges, rewards, competitions, content, for example. So there's a million of things that you could do. You just need to identify the ones that for you are most important at that specific time. And then the last one for us, because we are also a B2B community on our side, we count something as account penetration strategy. So out of our total number of customers, how can we make sure that we have 100% account penetration, that we have all our customers in there? Or if we cannot have 100, how many do you want to have until the end of the quarter? How many do we want to have until, the next couple of years? So it is important to create this strategy so that you can work against those KPIs and those goals that you are setting up from day one. Then moving to moderating the community, and I say here, moderation is key. You have to be there. You have to talk to your members. You have to take care of them. If not, they're not going to come back. So there are a few things that you could do when you are moderating a community. And when you moderate a community, I think it's important to highlight here that you are supporting your members. You are there to make sure that you're listening to them, you're helping them, because if they're not there, there's no community. So this is really important. And I feel that there's definitely different ways for you to do it, but number one is definitely answer their questions. It is important to make sure that they will always find an answer, even if that's from you or from another community power user or champion that you have there. Ideally, you would have power users helping you answer other users. And you need to encourage right behaviors and best practices. That's part of moderation. You need to be able to be there, kind of like making sure everything is working, everyone is satisfied, they can all find help whenever they're looking for help. And the way you can also do this is by introducing them to one another. I think I've seen that from our community members when we run surveys, and I know Richard was talking about this in his note today, in his session today, but on our side, we also did some surveys to understand what our customers were looking for, what our users were looking for. And top number one priority for them was to actually network. Get to know, other members, what they were doing, and all of that. So it is really important to, introduce them to one another and build a strategy as well, a champion strategy, so that those who are exceeding can also help others and make sure that they are taking care of each other. And ultimately, I would say definitely create content that will resonate with that audience. You need to create content that only lives within the community, like knowledge articles or insights that are coming from members that will actually help these users understand why they need to be there. Just a really quick pro tip, I would say, the way you could support them could also be through providing them with reputation and gamification opportunities, because we know that members want to be seen and want to be recognized when they are doing well. So this could also be something that could be part of your moderation. And then the last part would be, creating unique resources and experiences. And the way you do it as well could vary. On our case, the way we are creating unique resources and experiences is through content, groups, and events. When we look at content, we are creating new content that only lives within our community, so our customers and our members know that they cannot find that content anywhere else. So this will make that they have an excuse to come back, because they know that, okay, hey, this community discussion or post or localized content, it's only available here. So I'm going to keep coming, and I know that they share that on a monthly basis, so I'm going to keep coming because I know that on day X of every month, they're going to be sharing something that is important for me as a member. Then on the groups, it is important to offer these groups, and the groups you will have depends again on your strategy and all the audience you have within your community. For ours, we have industry groups. We don't have many. Again, sometimes less is more. We have a few regional groups, and then we also have a few localized groups for those regions or countries that really want to talk within their own native language. And we have moderators who help us, share content that is localized. And then lastly, what we have is our events, which is really, it has been trending for us. I'm just going to call out here maybe our member roundtables, which are events where we get together with a few of our customers and we have a panel, we talk to them, they share best practices, and all our members love that. And then ultimately the meetups, our customers also organize their own meetups and hangouts so that they can share experiences and let us know what they're doing. And the next part I'm going to talk about is going to be around measuring success and what are the different strategies that we are doing to measure success to our customers and make sure that we are understanding, how well this community is doing. So the first thing that I would like to call out that we are doing is it relates to growing our community. How can we expect, to engage with members if we don't have enough of them? We need to have members there. So I would say step number one would be, after you set up your growth strategy and, you know exactly how members are coming to our community, how is that going? How many total members do you have? And you can set up annual or quarterly goals based on the total number of potential users or customers that you can reach. But you can also track, net new members. So not only the total, but how many are you having month over month, or quarter over quarter? That's really important. And that will tell you, if you're trending up. And if every month you're increasing more than you were expecting, and that could help you set up your KPIs as well. Then for us, as I mentioned, because we do keep track of our account penetration, which is how many customers we have within the community, you could also do that based on like the total number of customers you have versus how many do you want to have, again, month over month or quarter over quarter. I think it's really important just to ask yourself, how many members do you need to have a thriving community? Your customer base, your audience. So how many do you think more or less you need to have so that that you're going to have a thriving community? Then the next one I'm going to talk to you guys about, it's around, increasing engagement in the community. Once that you have the members, now that you have the members, how can you make sure that they are engaging? How can you make sure that they're coming back and engaging with one another and actually taking full value of this community? The first thing that we, in our case, we are doing is we measure average sessions. We need to be able to understand how many times they're logging in. Are they coming back? How is that going again, month over month, quarter over quarter? But not only like if they're logging in, I think we're interested also in understanding what are they doing once they're there. Are they sharing content? Are they sharing posts? Are they commenting? Are they like? And that's what we call with contributions. How are they engaging within this platform with us and our members? And then lastly for us, we also have an ideation feature within our community. So we have a page that we call Ideas page, and customers can go in there and recommend new product features, share product feedback they would like to have within our specific product. And we like to know exactly, how many ideas are they sharing every month? How many ideas do we have at the final year of a fiscal year? So it is important for us to fully understand how our customers are engaging overall. I would say my pro tip here would be like, your KPIs will change. And again, I think I mentioned this before, the ones you will have at the beginning are definitely not going to be the same that you're going to have when you are depending on the life cycle of your community platform. So it is important to revisit them and make sure that the KPIs that you are measuring align with your goals, your community goals, but also align with your business goals, with what exactly your business, your company is trying to achieve, so that you can report back and say, hey, this is how the community is working, and this is how community members versus non-community members are doing, and hopefully you'll be able to show that community members are healthier product users, are healthier customers. So hopefully you'll be able to show that with your KPIs. Then the next part, it's going to be the first before I go into like the final session notes as well. It's all around how important it is to work with your cross-functional partners. And I usually say this, and I've met with a few community managers in the past, and I always say this, like, no man is an island. And if you are a community manager, you know this, you're not alone. You need to work with your internal teams so that you can support your external customers. So what I want to share with you today is just like a framework that I put together for this as well. And it was a good exercise in terms of like, what are the internal cross-functional partners that we work with, and how do we support them versus how they support us? So as you can see in the middle, the red boxes, we have those are some of our cross-functional partners. And just like, I want to just call out that I just highlighted here a couple of them. So starting with customer success and sales, the one we have on the left, those are the teams that we work a lot. We work with all of them. But the way that we support them is that we want to make sure, that we are increasing their productivity. The fact that, we are supporting customers through the community and these users are leveraging the platform, these teams will ultimately have more time, to meet with customers for more strategical conversations or talk to them with the more like technical aspects of a product implementation. But the way they support us is that they promote the community to new existing existing customers. So these are the teams that have that connection to customers. So they are a really good entry point to make sure that all customers are aware of our community and that they're logging in and that they know how to take advantage of a community like ours. When we move to support, and I think I mentioned this, the way we believe we support them is that, by sending these customers to our community, they can talk to each other, they can ask questions, they can look for answers. Hopefully, this will lead to support cases deflection, because these customers, instead of going to our support team to ask those more product-related questions, they can get an answer from the community right away. And for us, that has been really, really helpful. And the way they could help us as well is that they definitely encourage our users to visit the platform. So when someone reaches out to support, our support team, imagine you reach out to support with a technical issue, and then eventually you say something like, hey, I'd love to share some feedback with you on the product. They can say, we have an ideas page within the community where you could actually recommend that. So definitely working with support has been game changing for us. Then What we have as well is on the product and marketing side, we, as I said, have the ideas page. So the way we help them is that we are indeed the voice of customer, and we are bringing that feedback into the product team so that they can then understand what exactly our customers are asking for. And then the way that they support us is that a lot of the feedback we're getting, a lot of the ideas that we're having within our community, they are being implemented into the product. So then we go back to our users and we say, hey, the ideas that you recommended are now part of the product. And they're super thrilled when that happens, because they know that, I'm helping you. And ultimately, what I'm asking you is now part of the product. So you're improving my experience overall as well. On the other side of like customer success and support, we ultimately want this community to be able to support our customers at scale so that they can help each other. They can find the answers that they're looking for. And the way that these teams help us is that they educate the customers and our users on how to find and leverage the community. It is really important because some of our members, they've never used the community before, or when they go in there, they're not entirely sure. So it's important to make sure that these teams are also helping us educate the users so that they use it. And then outside of this, like the main framework, I just added a few other cross-functional partners that we have, which is legal, trust and safety, engineering. So it is important to work with these additional partners for a variety of topics. If you are setting up moderation rules, you want to make sure that your platform, your community platform is compliant, and you need to do some products, so platform updates. Platform updates is something we do at our community every quarter. We change things. We need to make sure change or / update things, but we want to make sure we're providing a great experience for our users. So that's why we need to work with a lot of cross-functional partners. And just like to finalize before we move to Q&A, I just want to share with you guys a few top tips. And whether if you're like an aspiring community manager or you are already an existing community manager, I think like these are definitely 3 things that I would recommend anyone to have top of mind. The first one would be around knowing your audience. You cannot expect, to have a successful community or to set up a community if you don't know who your user base is. You need to know who they are so that you can meet their needs and ultimately build a community that will be able to answer their needs. Secondly, like I said, we're not alone. We need to work with our internal cross-functional partners, because if you're building a community, you will need the engineering support to do so. You're going to need, for example, if you want to promote that to your user base, you're going to need your marketing team, you're going to need your sales team. So knowing who your cross-functional partners is and how you can help them, but how they can help you, it's extremely important as well. And ultimately, I would say measure community results. You want to make sure that you are not only measuring how the community is doing in terms of growth, in terms of engagement, in terms of customer satisfaction, user satisfaction, but you also want to be able to tell to your business how the community is impacting the business overall. How are community members versus non-community members, like I said here before, behaving? Are they healthier customers? Are they healthier users? Are they using the product more compared to others? So this is really important. But I just want to leave you with my pro tip, which is something that I usually think about when I'm setting up new strategies or new community events or anything related to our strategy, is I put myself in their shoes, in the user shoes, and I think, if I was using this platform, if I was a community member, would I like to see this? Is this something that I would love to see? And what you could do as well is you could ask your users before you try. Talk to your power users, ask them for advice. And then when you go and implement something, you're comfortable enough that, that's the best approach and that's the best choice that you could ever taken. So yeah, just want to leave you with that, and happy to go to Q&A, and hopefully we can have and answer a few questions, Valentina.
Thank you so much, Nadia. So many in-depth tips and tricks there. Our attendees are really loving what you're saying, and we do have some questions. So if you have any more questions, drop them into the Q&A tab right now so I can get your question to Nadia and to get an answer for you. So let's jump right into it. Eddie says, what's the key community metric or metrics that will engage C-suite attention?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. C-suite attention, I would say business impact, definitely, because you want to be able to tell to the business how the community is impacting your business overall. So for example, in our case, we look at in terms of like how community members are doing in terms of product adoption, renewals, growth. So if you could have that data and try and map it to your community and your community users, that would be, I would say, C-suite attention will be trending high.
Great. Desiree says, how would you go about building a B2B community on a forum where it's mostly used today as a support tool?
Okay, interesting. Support tool. I think you need to educate the users on how to use it. So if you, with B2B, definitely encourage users on what are the types of questions that they could use the community for. So if, for example, you have a lot of support questions, start sharing more product-related content. So if you share more product-related advanced content, they will understand that the support channel probably is the best way for the type of questions they have. So I think also when they come to you with questions, in our case, we typically, if it's a support question, we redirect them to support. Of course, we're not just going to say contact support. We do it in a way that, hey, you can talk here, you could reach out to this person or something like that. Make it personal, but make sure that they understand that your community is not the place for them to ask support questions.
Definitely. And it's all about really just telling people exactly what the space is for, where to go to do different things. And sometimes it means saying it like over and over again and you feel like a broken record, but that's just what happens in community. All right, we have another question here. Ezra asks, can you say one of the big difficulties that you've had in general with what you...
In general? I think when it comes to engagement, I can say that, engagement is something that, as long as the community grow, you're going to have more members. So you are expecting for the growth and the engagement to be running side by side, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you are growing too much and engagement is still not quite there. So for our side, it has been a challenge to fully understand, okay, what do we need to do? What are the new strategies that we need to implement, and we've done things in the past that we're not doing today because, we've done it for a while. We saw this doesn't work for our audience. So I feel that, even though it wasn't a challenge, I think the learnings is exactly what you need to take, because those learnings will help you understand and get to know your audience better and, define best what they're looking for when they come to your community.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that engagement is tough. Let us know in the chat if you are with us on the engagement challenge. It's something that is definitely a marathon that never ends. I mean, community building in general is a marathon that never ends, but engagement in particular, I see it time and time again that people are looking for help with it. And it just doesn't always go hand in hand with whatever else you're doing for your community. All right, more questions. Marcos says, do you have any great examples of global communities that were born in Latin America?
In Latin America, if I have a global... to be honest with you, I don't know, but I can tell you from our experience, our community is a global community. We have people from all over the globe, but we have some localized groups, and we do have one for Latin Portuguese and then Latin Spanish, and they are very engaged. I can tell that our moderators are doing an incredible job. And we've run, I think it was last year, we did a specific competition where we were looking for success stories, and the Portuguese group that didn't have a lot of engagement with that competition, it went through the door. It was actually incredible. So I feel that even though I don't have any example, if you are looking for support or any ideas on how to grow a community or implement a community in Latin America, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to meet you and share some tips.
Great. We have time for one more question. Mohammed asks, what is the best time to onboard people to my community if I am launching after 3 months from now? Should I onboard them now or at the launching?
That's a great question. I think what I would recommend would be to do like a pilot, because I feel that if you do a pilot with a number of customers and a number of users, you can understand what it's working, and you still have time to make some tweaks before you launch it in 3 months. So if you could do it, I would highly recommend reaching out to your internal teams that have contact with customers, for them to recommend, a number of customers that you could include in a pilot. Work with those customers, in a month from now. Work in a pilot and make sure that when you launch, your community is already answering the needs of your overall customer base.
Definitely. Great advice. I would Completely agree with you on that. Well, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much, Nádia. Please give her a big virtual round of applause through emojis and positive words. Thanks for joining us today. It was really great to have you on.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the talks.